Welcome back, everyone. We're diving deep today, and this one's all about advertising.
Ooh, advertising, huh?
Yep. And we've got a legendary guide, David Ogilvy, to help us navigate this world.
Ogilvy. That's a name you don't hear every day. He was like, what, the godfather of advertising or something?
Pretty much, his book, Ogilvy on Advertising, is like a Bible for anyone who wants to master the art of persuasion. Only Ogilvy wouldn't call it art. He was all about results.
Right, right. Cut through the BS and get down to business. I like that.
Exactly. He believed that if an ad didn't sell, it wasn't creative.
Okay, I can get behind that. So no more artsy-fartsy ads that look cool but don't actually do anything.
Well, not exactly. It's not that ads can't be visually appealing or clever,
Yeah.
but the main goal should always be to get the consumer to actually do something measurable.
So like, buy the product, sign up for a newsletter, visit a website.
Exactly. Ogilvy was a big fan of direct response advertising where you can track those results directly.
Makes sense. You gotta know if your efforts are paying off.
Absolutely. And a great example of this is Ogilvy's work with Dove soap.
Dove soap, oh. That's pretty basic stuff. What did he do? Make it smell better?
Back then, soap ads mostly talked about cleaning,
Mm-hmm.
but Ogilvy and his team, they were smart. They did their research and found out women were worried about soap being harsh on their skin.
Interesting. So they went with the gentle approach.
Yep. They positioned Dove as a beauty bar, emphasizing its moisturizing qualities.
Hmm?
It wasn't just soap anymore. It was something that made you feel beautiful.
Smart move. They tapped into what people actually wanted.
Exactly. A classic example of focusing on benefits, not just features.
And that's a lesson that applies to, well, pretty much anything you're selling, isn't it?
Absolutely. And that brings us to another Ogilvy obsession: research.
Research, as in like reading boring reports and stuff.
He believed that knowing your product, your customer, and your competition was absolutely essential. There's this famous story about him reading the entire Rolls-Royce manual before writing an ad for them.
Wait, the whole thing. Come
He
on.
did, and it paid off.
How so?
He found this little detail about the car being super quiet, and it led to one of the most famous headlines ever. At 60 miles an hour, the loudest noise in this new Rolls-Royce comes from the electric clock,
Now that's attention grabbing.
and it highlights a specific feature that implies luxury and quality.
See, that's what I'm talking about. You got to do your homework.
Yeah.
But it's not just about the product, right? You mentioned customers and competitors too.
Right. Like with Dove, they figured out what women were thinking and feeling about soap. And with competitors, Ogilvy would analyze their ads, pricing, and brand positioning.
So it's like finding the gaps in the market, right? Where your product can shine.
You got it. He was looking for that unique angle, that space where his client's brand could stand out. And to find that, he was a big believer in data. He loved testing.
Testing, like those A/B tests you hear about online.
Exactly. He tested everything: headlines, visuals, copy length, pricing. He knew that what works best is rarely obvious. You have to experiment and let the data guide you.
So no more gut feelings, huh?
Data trumps gut feelings every time, according to Ogilvy. And speaking of headlines, he had a lot to say about them.
Oh, yeah. Headlines are important.
He once said, on the average, 5 times as many people read the headline as read the body copy. When you have written your headline, you have spent 80 cents out of your dollar.
Whoa. So basically, the headline is like 80% of the battle.
Pretty much. It's your first impression, the hook that grabs the reader. And Ogilvy's research showed certain words were just magic for getting attention.
Like what?
Words like new, free, you, secret, proven. They create intrigue and urgency.
Ah, those are good ones. But it can't just be about catchy words, can it?
Absolutely not. You have to deliver on the promise of the headline. Curiosity is great, but clickbait is a dead end.
Makes sense. You got to keep people engaged, not just trick them into clicking.
Exactly. Build that trust. So you've hooked them with the headline. Now what? In today's world of short attention spans, you'd think short copy is the way to go, right?
Right. Get to the point, make your pitch, and move on. But wasn't Ogilvy all about long copy?
He was, especially for complex or high-value products.
Why is that? Wouldn't people just get bored?
Think about it. If you're buying something big, like a car, wouldn't you want more than just a slogan and a pretty picture?
True, true. You want the details, the specs, maybe even hear from other people who've bought it.
Exactly. Ogilvy believed in giving people the information they needed to make an informed decision.
So it's about building trust, right?
Yeah.
Showing you're not hiding anything.
Exactly. It's like those old Rolls-Royce ads. They were packed with information, almost like mini brochures.
Yeah, giving you all the reasons why a Rolls-Royce is worth the price tag.
Exactly. Longer copy can build trust and address objections before they even come up. So we've talked about selling, research, and headlines, but there's more to a brand than just individual ads, isn't there?
Yeah, you gotta build a brand, a lasting impression.
Ogilvy called this brand image, and it's more than just a logo.
It's like the personality of the brand, what people think and feel when they see it.
You got it. Think about brands like Apple or Nike. They evoke specific feelings and ideas.
Apple's sleek, innovative, kind of expensive, Nike pushing limits, being athletic, cool shoes.
And that's what makes them so successful.
Yeah.
They've created a consistent image across everything they do. Their ads, customer service, even their stores.
And don't forget McDonald's. You know exactly what you're going to get when you walk in anywhere in the world.
Consistency. It creates familiarity and trust, which are crucial for building loyal customers.
Right, so it's not just about one ad, it's about the whole experience.
Exactly. Speaking of powerful experiences, we live in a world where there's advertising everywhere. How do you make your ads stand out from the noise?
That's the million-dollar question. Especially with so many ads vying for attention, how do you cut through all that?
Ogilvy believed that boring is invisible. Your ads need to be interesting, maybe even entertaining.
So don't be a wallflower, huh? Be the life of the party.
Something like that. Think storytelling, humor, visual appeal. You want to create an experience, not just deliver a message.
All right, so make it memorable, make it fun. But even if you have the most entertaining ad, aren't people skeptical of advertising in general?
Absolutely. They've seen it all, and they're not easily fooled.
So how do you convince them to believe you? How do you build that trust?
Ogilvy was big on using proof to back up your claims.
Proof, like showing your work.
Exactly. Testimonials, endorsements from experts, data, case studies, anything that shows you're not just making empty promises.
Like he did with that Rolls-Royce ad, right? He didn't just say it was quiet. He used a specific fact to make it believable.
Exactly. It's about showing, not just telling. Here's the evidence, folks.
Right. Makes you think twice before dismissing it. What about before and after photos? Those are pretty convincing.
Those can be powerful, especially for things like weight loss or skincare, but they have to be honest and authentic.
For sure. No fake results allowed.
Okay, so here's something I've always wondered. What happens when there are a bunch of companies selling similar products?
The age-old question. How do you stand out in a crowded market? Ogilvy called this positioning. It's about figuring out what makes your brand unique and desirable compared to the competition.
So you find that one thing that sets you apart, that gap in the market that you can fill.
Right. Think about it. Volvo safety, BMW performance, Tesla innovation. They each appeal to different needs and desires.
So you own a single, clear idea and consistently reinforce it across everything you do.
That's how you carve out your own space in the consumer's mind.
Now let's talk results. This is where I get excited. How do we make sure our advertising actually works? What's the secret to getting people to take action?
Now you're talking. Ogilvy was all about direct response advertising. He loved it because you can measure those results right away.
Right. No more guessing games. Tell me more. How does it work?
It's about targeting your efforts to get a specific response, like fishing with a specific lure to catch a particular type of fish. You're not just casting a wide net and hoping for the best.
Okay, I like that analogy.
You see, branding builds awareness over time. Direct response is about getting people to do something right now.
So it's like planting a seed versus harvesting the crop. Both are important, but for different reasons.
Exactly. They work together, but they serve different purposes.
This is fascinating.
And you know what a great example of direct response is? Amazon.
Amazon, how so?
Think about it. Their brand is built on trust, convenience, and selection. And that makes their Buy Now button incredibly powerful.
I see what you mean. You already trust Amazon, so clicking Buy Now feels easy and natural.
Right. They remove all the friction between wanting something and actually getting it.
Genius. So what else makes direct response so effective?
Well, think about this. We've been talking about words a lot, but what about visuals? Aren't those important too?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially in our visual world, a picture can grab your attention way faster than a block of text.
Right. And Ogilvy, he knew the power of visuals too.
I bet he had some strong opinions about them.
One of his most famous campaigns was for Hathaway shirts.
Hathaway shirts, weren't those just, well, regular shirts?
Exactly. But he found a unique visual hook.
What was it?
An eye patch.
An eye patch. Seriously?
Yep. He featured a guy wearing a Hathaway shirt and an eye patch.
That's so random. Why an eye patch?
It was unexpected, intriguing. It made people stop and look.
Huh. So they made a simple dress shirt seem mysterious and sophisticated just by adding an eye patch.
Exactly. They elevated the brand with a strong visual.
That's amazing. So we've talked a lot about headlines, copy, visuals,
All the elements of a great ad.
but all that creativity can't cover up a bad product, right?
You're absolutely right. Ogilvy was adamant about that. You can't spin your way out of a bad product. Consumers are smart. They'll see through it eventually.
It's like building a house on a shaky foundation.
Exactly. It'll crumble eventually.
So you need a solid product as your base.
The companies that have lasting success, like Apple, Amazon, Google, they all started with great products.
The marketing came later.
Exactly. It's about offering something genuinely valuable to the world.
So it's not all about the tricks and tactics of marketing.
Nope. You gotta have a good product to begin with.
This is so insightful. So we've covered selling, research, headlines, visuals, and even the importance of a great product. Is there one secret ingredient, a magic bullet, that ties it all together?
If there were a magic bullet, we'd all be retired on a beach somewhere. But there is something Ogilvy was obsessed with.
What's that?
Testing. He was all about testing every little thing. Headlines, visuals, copy, offers, even prices.
Like a scientist in a lab coat, running experiments on his ads.
That's a great way to put it. He understood that consumer behavior is complex. What works best is rarely obvious. You have to experiment, collect data, and refine your approach.
So test everything. Don't assume anything. Let the data be your guide.
You got it. It might feel tedious, but it's the key to unlocking greater effectiveness and maximizing your results.
Data-driven decisions are always the best decisions. But even with the best data and the most brilliant strategy, there's one crucial element we can't forget: respect for the consumer.
Ah, right. The famous Ogilvy quote, "The consumer isn't a moron, she's your wife."
Treat her with respect, and she'll reward you with her loyalty.
So we've laid the groundwork, but there's a lot more to explore when it comes to respecting the consumer.
I can't wait to dive deeper into that.
Me neither. We're going to uncover some fascinating insights and practical tips you can actually use.
Sounds like we've got plenty more to explore.
All right, so respecting the consumer. This wasn't just some, fluffy feel-good idea for Ogilvy.
Right. I'm curious about that. It seems kind of counterintuitive, you know? In the world of advertising, isn't it all about winning, even if you have to bend the rules a little?
Well, you'd think so, wouldn't you? But Ogilvy, he really believed that honesty, it actually builds trust.
Okay, and trust leads to?
Loyalty.
Yeah.
And loyalty, that's the holy grail of marketing, my friend. He believed consumers, they're not dumb. They can see right through manipulation, and they don't like being treated like they're easily fooled.
I get that. I know I tune out when an ad feels fake or pushy. So how do you actually put this respect thing into practice? What does that look like in real-life marketing?
First off, you got to be truthful in your claims. Make sure you can back up everything you say, whether it's with data or testimonials. Don't overpromise and underdeliver. That's a recipe for disaster.
So no more miracle weight loss claims or products that promise the world.
Exactly. Be transparent, be authentic. If your product has some limitations, own it. People actually appreciate honesty, believe it or not.
Right, it makes you relatable, more human.
Yeah.
So honesty is key. What else can we do to show that respect?
Don't just try to sell them something, educate them. Share information that actually helps them make informed decisions. Don't assume they know everything about your product or your industry.
I love that. Empowering people, not just pushing a product. It's like those Michelin tire guides.
Yeah, what about them?
They give you all this information about tire safety and maintenance, even though it might mean you won't rush out to buy new tires right away.
Right. They're giving you value, positioning themselves as the experts, and building that trust along the way.
And that trust eventually leads to, well, more sales, right?
Exactly. It's that long-term thinking. It's like the saying, give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. Be helpful, be informative, and people will remember you for it.
So it's not just what you say, it's how you say it, right?
Absolutely. How do we create messages that actually sound respectful? Not like some corporate robot.
Yeah, what does that sound like?
Right, like you're talking to a friend. Use clear, simple language, no jargon, be conversational.
Ditch the corporate speak. Keep it real.
Exactly. And here's another thing. Focus on the benefits, not just the features. People don't care about the technical specs. They care about how your product will improve their lives.
So instead of saying, this vacuum cleaner has a 1200-watt motor, you say, this vacuum will make your life easier by picking up pet hair like a dream, even if you have a shedding monster like my dog, Fluffy.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You took a boring technical detail and turned it into something relatable, something that solves a problem.
It's more human, more engaging that way.
Exactly. And don't forget storytelling. People love stories. Weave a story into your advertising. Make it memorable. Make it human.
Like those John Lewis Christmas ads. So heartwarming, always a beautiful story that stays with you.
Exactly. When you can evoke an emotion, you create a much deeper connection with your audience.
So honesty, education, clear communication, and storytelling. It's about creating a positive experience for the consumer, not tricking them into a sale.
You got it. Respect your audience, and they're more likely to connect with your brand, trust your message, and ultimately become loyal customers.
It just makes sense. Nobody likes to feel manipulated.
Right. It's amazing how many brands just don't get it. They underestimate their audience, talk down to them, bombard them with annoying ads. It's like they're shooting themselves in the foot.
And then they wonder why people aren't responding, why they're not building loyalty.
It's a head scratcher.
So just to recap, to really show respect, you got to be honest, educate your audience, communicate clearly, and most importantly, focus on providing value.
Perfectly put. Don't forget to make it enjoyable. Nobody wants to be lectured to. Inject some humor, tell a story, make it an experience.
Okay, I'm taking notes. Now, going back to direct response advertising, remember you said it's like fishing with a specific lure to catch a specific fish.
Yeah, what about it?
I'm really interested in this idea of targeting your efforts to get a specific response. Can you break that down for me?
Sure. So, direct response, it's all about getting people to take action. Make a purchase, sign up for something, download something. It's different from branding, which is more about building awareness over time. Direct response is about do it now.
So it's like planting a seed versus harvesting the crop. Both are important, but they have different goals.
That's a great way to think about it. And just like a farmer uses the right tools for harvesting, a direct response marketer uses the right strategies to get that specific response.
So what are some of those strategies? What makes direct response work so well?
First off, you need a clear call to action. Tell people exactly what you want them to do and make it easy for them to do it.
Like those buy now buttons. Super straightforward.
Exactly. Simple but effective. And then there's targeting. You got to reach the right people with the right message at the right time.
So you're not just throwing a message out there and hoping it sticks.
Nope. You need to understand your audience, their needs, their desires, their pain points. And that's where data comes in handy.
So track what people are doing, figure out what resonates with different groups, and then refine your approach.
Exactly. Direct response is all about precision, about being laser focused, using data to guide your decisions. It takes the guesswork out of it and allows you to constantly test and tweak things to get better results. It's a very Ogilvy way of thinking.
I like that. So we've got the clear call to action, the targeting, and the data. Anything else?
Oh, yeah. You got to create that sense of urgency, that don't miss out feeling.
Ooh, you're speaking my language. I can't resist the limited time offer.
Yeah. I know, right? It taps into that fear of missing out that we all have. So how do we create that feeling? Well, you can use deadlines, limited time offers, flash sales. Those are super effective.
Makes sense. What else?
Highlight scarcity, limited quantities, exclusive access, anything that makes it seem like it's going fast.
Like those only 3 left in stock messages online.
Exactly. They work. So to sum it all up, effective direct response has a clear call to action, targets the right audience, uses data to get better results, and uses urgency and scarcity to get people moving.
Sounds like a winning formula to me. But before we get too carried away, let's circle back to respecting the consumer. It's especially important when we're talking about direct response, where we're trying to get people to take action right now. How do we balance the need to get results with, treating people right?
That's a great question, and it's a balance every marketer needs to figure out. But here's the thing. Respect and effectiveness, they don't have to be at odds with each other. Actually, when done right, respect can make your results even better.
Okay, how so?
Think about it. When you treat people with respect, you build trust. And trust is the foundation of any relationship, including the relationship between a brand and its customers.
So by respecting our audience, we're actually creating the perfect environment for them to say yes.
Exactly. When people trust you, they're more likely to believe what you're saying and take action. It's not about tricking them into a sale. It's about connecting with them authentically and offering them real value.
It's not about manipulation. It's about building real relationships.
Precisely. Be transparent. Be honest, be helpful, put their needs first.
My mind is blown. I'm seeing how this respect thing isn't just some ethical ideal, it's actually smart business.
It is, and it's something Ogilvy really understood. He believed the best advertising starts with respecting the consumer, and that's a message that's more relevant today than ever.
Wow. This has been an incredible conversation. We've gone from direct response to respect for the consumer and seeing how those ideas work together.
It has been great, hasn't it? But wait, there's more.
Oh, what else is there?
We've talked about tactics and strategies, but I want to talk about big ideas now. Ogilvy believed that every great ad campaign had a powerful concept at its heart, something that captures attention and sticks with people.
Big ideas, huh? Sounds like the secret weapon of truly memorable advertising.
That's a great way to put it. We'll dive into that and more in the final part of our deep dive. Stay tuned.
All right, we're back, ready to wrap things up. This deep dive into advertising with Ogilvy has been a whirlwind.
It really has. From headlines to visuals to respecting the consumer, we've covered so much ground.
But you teased something at the end of the last part. Big ideas.
Ah, yes. Big ideas. Remember how Ogilvy believed every great campaign has a powerful central concept at its heart?
Right, something that really sticks with people, that makes it memorable. But what exactly do you mean by big ideas?
He meant that it's not just a clever tagline or a fancy image, it's a deep underlying concept that drives the entire campaign. Like, it captures attention, resonates with the audience, and they remember it long after they've seen the ad.
Okay, I think I get it, but can you give me an example?
Think of the Marlboro Man. That campaign wasn't just showing a cowboy smoking. It was tapping into a deeper idea, like masculinity, freedom, the American spirit. And that idea connected with people helped make Marlboro one of the biggest brands in the world.
Wow, so it's about selling a feeling, a lifestyle, not just a product.
Exactly. Or think about A Diamond is Forever. They linked diamonds with eternal love, made them symbols of romance.
Those campaigns ran for years and years, right?
Exactly.
Wow.
A big idea has longevity. It can outlast trends. Another one, think small, for the Volkswagen Beetle.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
When everyone wanted big, flashy cars, they embraced being small and simple. It was a totally different message, and it really worked.
So these big ideas, they tap into something deeper, connect with people's emotions, their dreams, their fears.
You got it. It's about understanding what makes people tick, then crafting a message that speaks directly to that.
It's fascinating stuff. It's like these big ideas are the foundation of a great campaign. Everything else comes from that.
Exactly. It keeps your campaign focused, impactful, and most importantly, memorable.
Okay, I'm sold. But how do you actually find a big idea? Is there some secret formula?
No magic formula, unfortunately. But there are some things to keep in mind. First, keep it simple, easy to understand, easy to communicate.
The KISS principle. Keep it simple, stupid, love it.
Right. Second, make it relevant to your audience. It should address their needs, their wants, their problems.
So it's not just about being clever, it's got to actually connect with the people you're trying to reach.
Exactly. Third, it has to be original, different. It needs to make your brand stand out from the crowd.
Don't be a copycat. Find your own path.
Right. And finally, it should make people feel something. Joy, inspiration, maybe even a little fear, depending on what you're selling.
So we're back to emotions. That seems to be a recurring theme.
It's because emotions drive decisions. If you can make someone feel something, your message will stick with them.
I'm starting to get it now.
Yeah.
It's not just about fancy words or pictures. It's about that deeper connection. That's what makes great advertising.
You're getting it. And that brings us back to something we've been talking about a lot, respect for the consumer.
Right. Having a big idea isn't an excuse to be manipulative or anything like that.
Exactly. You got to stay true to those principles we discussed. Honesty, transparency, authenticity. Don't overpromise. Back up your claims.
No bait and switch tactics allowed. We're building something real, something that lasts.
Right. And remember, the big idea should serve your audience, not just your brand. It's about their needs, their concerns.
So it's a conversation, not a lecture.
Exactly. You're listening, you're understanding, you're creating something that truly resonates.
This has been amazing. It's like advertising can actually be a force for good, you know, create positive change, make real connections.
That's exactly what Ogilvy believed in. He saw advertising as a way to inform, to entertain, even to inspire.
What a legacy. This has been an incredible journey, and I feel like I've learned so much.
Me too. And I hope our listeners are feeling inspired to go out and create advertising that's not just effective, but also ethical and meaningful.
We've covered everything from the nitty-gritty details to these big, powerful concepts.
And we've seen how all those pieces work together.
So, as we wrap things up, what's the one thing you want our listeners to take away from all of this?
Remember Ogilvy's words. The consumer isn't a moron, she's your wife. Treat her with respect, intelligence, and honesty.
Wise words from a legend. And on that note, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of advertising. Until next time, happy advertising, everyone.